What's up, everybody? Hoping that intro music was audible. I would not put it past this phone to not pick it up. This has just been, oh, one of the craziest weeks of my life, man. Trying to get the camera straight. Oh, yeah, shout out to Ryan Cudahy. Check out his new film. He is a very, very talented director out of Charlottesville, Virginia, my hometown. And guy's been at it for a long time. I've actually done a couple projects with him, and really, before I met my girlfriend, I mean, he was the guy that I turned to for help with anything film related. Which I'm actually getting ready to announce some uh, some news related to film before too long here. So stay tuned. But oh my God, yes, this week has just been. First of all, I planned, keyword planned, to do a podcast that was going to start actually at a different time originally, but this is going to hit the internet at 2 o'clock East Coast time and 11 a.m. West Coast time. If I'm breathing heavily, it sounds like it's because I'm sitting in a hot car right now recording this, but yeah, I had a flight get canceled this week, and I also had well, I mean, I use canceled loosely, but I had travel plans fall through. I was supposed to be in New Orleans right now, which sucks. And last night in Florida, mind you, fell asleep and had no AC in my apartment, which was nice. That's why I started at West Coast time, 11 a.m. instead of at 11 a.m. East Coast time. But I figured that would not really change things up much because who's going to be awake on a Saturday at 8 a.m. and it's if you are, more power to you. I know I was up around that time today, but that's just because I have 1,000 things to do outside of this podcast. But oh yes, I am here, and where was I? So yeah, doing the show today, reacting to getting my camera straightened out here. The MLB All Star Game, which, look, I've said from the start, I think the Phillies are a damn good team, but I also think the Guardians are a big surprise because of such a, I mean, not a very strong bullpen, but that team could make a splash late in the year. But a good point I heard the other day somebody made on the radio is that there is always this team that sneaks up on you. It could be Detroit Tigers. They're what, 48 and 50 right now. I mean, you've got you have obviously the Yankees and the Orioles who are duking it out for first place in the AL East. Red Sox right behind them, which there's another surprise team. You just don't know. And I did not watch the whole All-Star game, but I really don't know if there was enough there for me to say it's going to be this team that wins it because of this. I mean, look at all these teams of late that are starting to pick it up. There's teams that have been around too. I mean, like the Royals, they have been looking pretty solid. Always the Braves are in the fight. I don't know if the if I trust the Orioles despite being in first. They have been just too inconsistent for my liking, and the way they ended it last year, I'm not ready to. I mean, I'm always behind my team, but I'm not confident that this team is as good as the team last year, but we'll see. I'm excited to watch baseball more than ever. Um, I mean, it was just, it really didn't stand out to me other than those uniforms, any performances in that game. But yeah, once you have the second half of the season start, that's when teams really show up, obviously. And I'm looking to see some consistency from the Orioles because I mean, they have some fight in them, but my God, I mean, this team, just the way they collapsed last year, I don't know. I really don't. But I mean, the Cardinals look good. I think that the team to beat still is the Philadelphia Phillies, but I mean, Aaron Judge is in his prime right now. Look out for this team. Yankees, I hate to say it, it might be the Phillies and the Yanks in the in this championship series this year. And what a weekend for me. What a weekend for sports. Period. We have Mike Perry stepping in there against Jake Paul. Man, I just don't know how this one's gonna play out because if it goes to a decision, game over for Mike Perry. He's going to lose. But if Mike can weather the storm early and gets it done with body shots, I see it being a long night for Jake Paul. I'm backing Mike, of course, but you know, all the jokes, Africa, all that. It's going to be so interesting to watch. I mean, does Jake Paul, does he have, is he really as updated as he says? Has he been going in there working his tail off to become this world championship boxer? I don't know. He swings too wildly. That's why I feel like if Mike can get past the early rounds, he can really put pressure on him. And Jake, I don't know if he's seen a dog in there yet, like Mike Perry. It was so disrespectful to say all these guys in BKFC are just swinging, these idiot street brawlers. It's like what Eddie Alvarez, come on. Don't just discredit these guys because it's not your thing, Jake. You haven't been in BKFC. How would you even know that? I want to know if you guys think he's ever going to fight for another promotion because I always put these polls up. I feel like nobody ever gets to propose these questions, I should say. And do you think that Jake Paul will ever fight in BKFC? I don't even know about the PFL. I mean, I just feel like the guy is going to push it back as far as he can and maybe never fight. There, I had to get some air in this car. But yeah, I'm gonna rock with Mike by knockout. I hope. Because God, I mean what did you think about the Jake or not Jake Paul, the Nate Diaz decision? Because I had it for George, but it was in California, so I mean Nate getting that decision, do you think it had anything to do with angling for a rematch with Jake? I don't know. I mean, he said he just called Jake Paul out after he won. because I was on the spot what he thought of. That was actually a damn good event. I liked I liked the way that George fought that fight. I mean, he got down and dirty, and Nate, I think, was just he was putting on a show for the crowd, but it's like at the end of the day, are we judging off of that now, or what are we judging for? Is it, the damage that you do? I don't know. That was a big thing that they were talking about during the broadcast was how in the world are these judges going to see this? I don't know. I didn't agree with it, but shout out to Nate. I mean, he looked damn good in that fight. I got to give it to him at times. Be very interesting to see where he goes next. Is he going to get back to the UFC? Same thing with Mike Perry. If he wins this fight tonight, does he go back to the UFC? But I also know that there's Amanda Serrano tonight. And look, sorry, I'm going to keep drinking water the whole episode. Every 2 minutes, it feels like every 2 seconds. But I have a bone to pick with the Wade concept because all the guys who were on that panel reacting to the weigh-in last night, because normally, and I was driving through a monsoon listening to that, but I was able to catch. I parked and I caught the face off, most of it between Jake Paul and Mike Perry, and like, what are they talking about? Saying that, I mean, you could say that Jake looks dialed in, but to say that Mike looked a little shook by the moment, are you kidding me? You saw what happened with the security. I saw it just the same as they did. They were struggling to keep that man back, and Mike Perry is not going to be nervous. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but he's not going to go in there and be shook by the moment. A guy who has fought in the UFC against all these people and fought in BKFC against, I mean, legends. I mentioned Eddie Alvarez in the UFC fought against Cowboy. It's going to be a hell of a war. And Jake, if anybody, I think was the one that looked a little bit more shook. I mean, he was chewing his gum hard, just moving around like this. All these from what I saw. Now again, I watched it kind of half-ass paying attention, but I did see Jake kind of moving around, looking a little bit uncomfortable. It felt like to me in that face-off. So I don't know. I don't think Mike is going to be the least bit intimidated in this fight. So rock with me, don't rock with me. I'm picking a knockout for Platinum. Now, Amanda Serrano and Stevie Morgan. Stevie did look a little bit shook up. Maybe it was just the bright lights. I don't know. But this is where you manifest something and you rise to the occasion. And I think that Stevie's going to shock the world because somebody mentioned during the press conference, are you looking past her to Amanda Serrano because you have this fight coming up with Katie Taylor? That's kind of what happens to some of these people, is that they don't take it seriously, or they just don't take it seriously enough. I don't know. Like I mean, I hate to say it, but I don't know if this had anything to do with it, but with Tony Ferguson, did he look past Justin Gaethje? Did Conor McGregor, did he look past Nate Diaz when they fought? There's examples where you can question that. So I'm picking Stevie to shock the world and get a decision victory. Chavez Jr., I think, will weather the storm against Uriah Hall. get it done. I think he's more seasoned. Not lost a whole lot of fights in his career, and look, all we had with Uriah Hall was a fight against Le'Veon Bell. So I'm gonna go with a smart bet. I don't know what the Vegas odds are, but I would think people are going with the guy who's actually boxed longer. Um, and H2O, that one's a toss up for me. Great fights on this card, guys. I gotta say, I'm actually I'm hyped for a Jake Paul fight card, but maybe that's because he's fighting actual like legit scary competition and not, I mean, the only competition he's really had up until now, whether he likes to hear it or not, is Nate Diaz and Tommy Fury. So it's going to be a hell of a night, man. Regardless, Tampa, you were getting spoiled with this card, I do think. Guys, I'm burning alive. There's other fights I'm forgetting, I know, but Jadeja Green, uh, that's the only one I would know off the top of my head. I think she'll get it done. And I'm going to post my official fight picks online anyway. But yeah, I'm picking Jadeja to win. I'll post the others soon. Love you all, mean it.